Hi, I'm Jeff Opdyke with International Living, and I am here today with Winton Churchill, who is a founder of Barefoot Consultants, a division of Churchill Method. And he's a frequent speaker at International Living events, and he teaches workshops on how to transition from a working career into the freelancing career. So welcome, Winton.
Hi, Jeff. How you doing today?
Doing all right. How's life down there where you are?
It's wonderful. It's the time of the year where it starts to get a little bit cooler, but it's nice.
No, it's quite cold here in Prague.
I can imagine. Yes, I'm in San Miguel de Allende as we speak, and it was 80 degrees on Monday, and let's see, right now it looks like it's 68 degrees, so a little bit cooler.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to see 68 or 80 until probably the spring.
Ooh.
So
Better you than
anyway,
me.
so let's talk a little bit about freelancing today.
Sure.
Really interested in what you're doing, and I know our readers and subscribers are interested in this too because they all want to make that kind of transition, or many of them want to make that kind of transition. So how do you think is sort of the best way to get started in freelancing?
Well, the great news is you want to start by signing up for an online freelancing network, because that's where the jobs are. When I started my freelancing career almost 20 years ago now, I did the old thing of printing up business cards. I was leaving corporate America. I'd go to Chamber of Commerce meetings. I called it the rubber chicken circuit, and you'd pass out your business cards to people, and you'd hope that they would need your services, and you weren't really even sure what their services are. And the great thing about these online networks is you just go on to a place where people that buy freelance services have said, this is the project I need done. How much would you charge to do it? And what are your qualifications? So you skip over, 80, 90% of what most freelancers had to do in the past to drum up business.
Yeah, I remember being a freelancer when I was a newspaper writer, and it was a challenge always having to send out, hey, I've got this idea, let me send this to you. And you wait for weeks and weeks and weeks to get a rejection letter, an acceptance letter, or they never showed up. So it's so much easier today to find the kind of jobs that you want to do because there's so many people around the world that sort of just out there looking for you, and they're trying to pair you with your skill set with what somebody needs.
Yes, and that's the great thing particularly for baby boomers, is the way we teach this in our workshops and online courses is you want it to be based on skills you already have. You don't want to have to go out and learn a lot of stuff. And a lot of baby boomers say, well, gee, what skills do I have? And we have a process we go through in our workshops, and usually people are amazed at the number of skills they have. They're thinking their occupation, and your occupation is really a combination of 20, 30, 40, 50 skills. And what we do is help match the skills that are in demand to the online world.
I don't think people realize when you say freelancing, I think people think in terms of photography, they think in terms of writing, they think in terms of maybe some consulting or whatever. I don't think they realize how big this universe really can be. I have a friend here in Prague who works for a major university in the US, and she comes here and she's able to bring her skill set over here and do the exact same kinds of things that she's doing in the US, which deals with psychology and whatnot, but she's able to do psychology kind of stuff here in Prague.
Yes, we would call that a domain of knowledge, or knowledge of psychology. And that domain of knowledge is in demand around the world. And we have many of our freelancers that are working on these online networks are completely surprised the first time they get an inquiry to do work for a company that's halfway around the world. But many companies in particular do things in the English language, like universities frequently publish in research papers and that kind of thing in both the native language of the institution and in English, so it gets wide international consumption. So there's lots of proofreading assignments and editing assignments and that kind of thing around that.
Right. And so what are some of the pros and cons when you're making this switch to being a freelancer?
Well, many people, sort of grow up in small business or corporate America, and you know, somebody else is in essence giving you tasks on a daily basis, things to do, things to get done, that kind of thing. And obviously, as a freelancer, you're wearing many hats, and you're more concerned with the overall satisfaction of the client you're freelancing for than you might be in a corporate job, or even in a small business, or even as a solo practitioner, because it's up to you to make that experience come out right. And we find that if people do jobs that are an appropriate level in these online networks, they kind of build that muscle that helps them understand how to give that you know, quality of service through the total arc of the job, from you know, bidding and winning on the job all the way through completing the job and getting good recommendation ratings.
Right, right. And do you recommend any particular freelancing websites that people can go to and sort of acquire their first freelance assignment?
Yes, there are over about 150 freelance websites out there. There's
Wow.
a subset of those, maybe about 25 or 30%, that really appeal to the baby boomer that wants that portable income, that wants to do things like proofreading and customer service and making PowerPoint presentations and that kind of thing. The biggest network that's been around is one called Upwork.com. You know, all these are .com after them. There's and that's been around for many years. Many of the same venture capital companies that invested in Google and Facebook are invested in that company, and that company has recently gone public. So you know, just Google that. You'll find lots of good information there. And that's the one that we recommend that people ideally work with. But some people's background, their skill set may not be suited for that one. So, you know, there's a host of others, but the big ones are another one called Fiverr, which is an Israeli-based firm, very large. And these networks have millions of people working in them. These are big enterprises. Upwork, I think the last number I saw, paid out about $1.3 billion to freelancers last year. So this is a big business. It's not the little sort of boutique business that freelancing used to be. And then there's one called Freelancer.com. That's another one. There's one called Guru.com, just like the Maharishi, you know, GURU.com. And so there's, you know, I could go on for 20 minutes naming others, but the important thing is, in terms of getting started on a site, you want to pick one that sort of fits your skill set and is going to, on a variety of things, meet your needs. And then you want to work on that one exclusively until you get the knack of working online, because it's certainly different than working in an office or that kind of thing. Fortunately, many of us have had the opportunity to work remotely from the companies that we used to work for. And if you've done that, this will be fairly straightforward, but there's a little bit of, you know, the software application to understand and that kind of thing. So there's some pieces there. But those are all good websites to get started on.